Welcome back, ladies and gentleladies, to today's campfire discussion. So this one's going to be kind of fun, I think. We've done a few episodes already in the past. I mean, I just looked at Podcast Addict and it says we have 864 episodes.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a time when we're just going to start repeating information, but I think that there's pretty cool ways to tell a different story, a different side of that information,
100%.
right? And a different way to frame that information so it makes a little bit more sense and perspective to somebody else, right?
And I vote once we get to 1,000 for episode 1,000, we just sort of start over.
Start over?
We'll just start with number one. Everything. Whatever we covered in episode number 1 is what 1,000
I wonder if we could
will be.
I wonder if we could do like 1,001 through 1,010 just to replay episodes 1 through 10 and see if anybody notices.
Yes, we can. Well, we can definitely replay them.
See if anyone notices.
Yeah, that's another question.
Yeah.
And episode 1,000 will be our teaser episode.
Yeah. No one will figure it out. All right. So this episode here, we're going to talk about tips for newbies on really like things about your vehicle when off-roading, ways to handle your vehicle, what to do with your vehicle, safety tips for vehicles, things to consider when you're in certain situations with vehicles. So it's kind of like, if you've never been off-roading before, these are kind of high-level things to consider, to think about.
They're tips and tricks that we would say to somebody out on the trail that is their first time ever wheeling.
I literally, when Jimmy put it that way, as to like, what do we think of when we're like telling people when we're out on a trail with a newbie? And I immediately thought back to two people. One, Glue Tread Andy.
Okay.
And when we did the Glue Tread trip on the Rubicon, and I let Andy drive Kermit.
Okay.
And I was like, what did I tell Andy while driving Kermit? And the other one was, I think that was the Australian that randomly got sent to us from somebody that was like, oh, you want to go on the Rubicon? Go talk to these two guys. And we randomly had the day available.
Yep.
That he was going to be in the area. And we just took him out on the Rubicon.
Yeah, that was a pretty awesome day.
That was a fun day.
The other one I was thinking of was Samurai James.
Oh, that's another good one. Okay.
Yeah, who is dove headfirst into the whole off-roading thing and probably could teach us a few things now.
Yes.
But he didn't start until late in his life.
His first off-roading trip ever driving was on the Rubicon.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So that's sort of where this idea came from, is like, if somebody's considering driving an off-road vehicle for the first time on an off-road trail, what are tips and tricks that we can tell them? Yeah. And before we start, I do want to, you kind of alluded to it, but we've kind of covered some of this stuff in the past. We've covered some similar things in the past. Episode 306 is tips and tricks for your first trip on the Rubicon.
Oh,
I think that's an interesting episode that could tie right into some of this stuff.
Yep.
It's more about the Rubicon than the driving. Right. So that's a good one.
That's a little bit more has to do with like the terrain, some of the cool things to do and see on the trail, and how to navigate that particular trail as a newbie.
Yeah. The next 3, we did a 3-part series, but it got spread out like over a month. And I didn't write down the titles of everyone, but and I'll have all this down in the show notes so you guys don't need to remember. Episode 646, 654, and 656 was part 1, 2, and 3 of just off-road, beginning off-road tips and tricks to some level, from planning a trip to executing the trip to adaptations and stuff like that. That was kind of how we laid it all out. The last one I have is, I don't know why it didn't have a episode number.
Yeah.
Maybe it was just a bonus episode or something. But it is 15 off-road safety tips. And I'll put a link down that below, but it came out in June of 2025.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So those are all excellent episodes that kind of pair right into this one. And our goal is, like, I told Tyler, I'm like, I'm pretty sure we've done this before. So I started researching our own episodes to see if we have, and we kind of we never took it as like tips and tricks for driving necessarily for a newbie. So, but I found all these that I think paired in rather nicely. So if you found this to be a good episode, go listen to some of those as well.
Yeah. Yep. I agree. I think that works out really well. It's kind of a precursor and, maybe you're brand new to the podcast here, just finding us this late when we're on episode 722.
Yep.
And you're like, that was kind of a cool episode. It had a lot of information that was very relevant to me, kind of thing. Then you can go back and check out these other episodes too, because there's a lot of really good information in those. So
yeah, I know a whole bird walk here.
We like bird walks here on the podcast.
I listened to another episode, and he has a thing on his website where you type in, like, he asks you like 3 to 5 questions or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then he gathers your answers to those questions, and then he curates a podcast playlist for you.
Oh, yeah. Interesting.
And I'm like, we have enough backlog of episodes now that, if you come to us and you'd be like, I want to learn how to become a better off-roader.
Yeah.
We have episodes for you. If
I want to learn really interesting to do and have
all about the Rubicon. Yeah. We have episodes for you. Like you want to learn her history of off-road trails. We have episodes for you.
Yeah.
It would be, I cannot imagine the workload that would go into cataloging all that stuff.
It wouldn't be too bad with AI nowadays.
Yeah, maybe not, but I
have to use up a lot of water though.
Yeah, probably. But I think it would be a neat thing to do. Be like, hey, you enjoy podcasts? Like, let me curate a playlist for you.
Yeah, that'd be neat.
Yeah.
So that would be a really cool feature. I totally think it could be doable. So with our catalog.
Yeah.
So.
For sure. Anyways, moving on.
Let's dig in, dive in, jump in, crawl in. I don't know, whatever. I almost said euphemism. Those are not euphemisms. It's a different ism. So what do we got? What are you laughing at?
Your isms.
My isms. My tism for isms.
You've got a lot of ism.
Thank you, sir. My wife tells me that every day.
So these, we got a list of 10 here. There's probably some bonus ones that we'll be tossing in the mix, because I know one of them has like 2 or 3 subtitles to it, or subcategories in it. They're in no particular order. They're just sort of what came to our head at that time. But I think I'd like to start with, on this list, which happens to be number 9, seatbelt.
Yep. Seatbelt Nazi over here.
Yep. 100%.
I saw no less than 4 to 5 people during Rubathon that were not wearing their seatbelts. And I was like, you guys.
Yeah.
Come on.
Seatbelt. Seatbelt is probably the number one safety thing that you can have in your vehicle. Make sure it's if you've done any modifications to your vehicle, make sure it's attached well.
Yep.
If your vehicle's stock, I'm sure it's attached well. But the thing is, just always wear it. If you got to move your vehicle 2 feet because you're blocking somebody, or you're in a funky little spot, you want to move it before you hop out or whatever, just always put that seatbelt on. You don't know what's going to happen. I mean, there's been stories, people just moving a few inches and their vehicle slides off a rock or down a hill or does something, rolls over, flops, and you can get crushed. You can get some head injuries. You can
get beheaded.
You can get beheaded, death. There's a lot of things that can go wrong where if you had your seatbelt on, the likelihood of the worst case scenario happening is way down. Yeah. I did watch a video on Instagram of somebody that probably was not seatbelted in because they had some sort of dash cam. And when the vehicle rolled over, they were not in the same direction of their seat.
Nope.
But somebody from outside was like, "Hey, you all right?" And the guy's like, "I'm fine, but my hair is caught under the roll bar."
Oh, that's right. I did see that one too. Yep.
And I'm like, I don't think if that guy was buckled in, if that would have been a problem. That's what I took away from it. So yeah, seatbelt. No matter what, make sure all your vehicle or all the people in your vehicle have their seatbelts on. Don't start moving your vehicle until all the seatbelts are on.
Yep.
Always put your seatbelt on.
Yep.
And the flip side, don't take your seatbelt out until you come to a complete stop and stop the engine.
Yep. And have the vehicle in park or whatever you need to do to make sure it's not moving when the engine is off.
Yeah.
It's just we're in weird environments. We're out on rocks that like to move. We're out on dirt hills and dirt can slide away. There's just too many things that can go wrong. There's too many variables to control, and the simplest, most effective way to keep yourself safe with all those variables is a seatbelt.
Yep.
And it's not like a seatbelt doesn't like seatbelts nowadays. They don't hinder you unless you have like a 5-point harness or something. That definitely will hinder your movement and looking around and everything. But like a regular shoulder strap 3-point seatbelt is not going to hinder too much of whatever you need to do in a vehicle compared to keeping you in your seat in the case of a bad accident.
Right.
So, wear your seatbelt, please.
Yes, 100%. I think the next one will go up one because this is one that you suggested, and it kind of goes right in line with this. It's not so much personal safety as this other people's safety, and a little bit personal safety. You know which one I'm talking about?
Yep, I do.
Go for it.
Anytime you're going to start a vehicle, please be seated in the driver's seat with full control of all controls of the vehicle. I don't care if you have an automatic, a manual, whether you think you have a full reach and range of the clutch pedal, whether you think it's in gear or not in gear or in park, neutral. I don't give a shit what it is. Please just be in the driver's seat in complete control when going to start a vehicle.
With your seatbelt on.
With your seatbelt on. Because there was an instance out on Little Sluice where somebody did jump in the vehicle to have control of the vehicle when they started it, but they didn't have the seatbelt on. And when they started it, it was in gear and it rolled off of the top of Little Sluice and down into the sluice box. Person was not buckled in and they were no longer around.
Yep.
So, we have a really good friend, CJ with the CJ, who got crushed between two vehicles. Because the vehicle was started up and it was thought that the vehicle was in neutral, but it was in gear in 4 low. And I just heard another story recently of that happening again.
Same exact thing.
They thought that it was in neutral. They just reached in to turn the key and it was in gear. So, I don't remember if anybody got horribly injured on that one. If they got crushed or not.
Injured. They were in the hospital for sure for an extended period of time.
Okay.
Yeah. That was a listener of ours.
Oh, was it?
They reached out to tell us the story, and we said we know this story, and this. I think we talked about it. Like, our friend CJ with the CJ.
Mm-hmm.
It was a pure accident all around, 100% pure accident, and that's the thing. It's like, if you're in control of the vehicle, if you're in the vehicle and you have your hand on the manual transmission, your foot on the brake, the clutch or whatever, or it's in park, you just make sure all those things, have your foot on the brake before you start the vehicle. Just be in full control of the vehicle before you start it. Yeah. It saves other people around you. It could save you, it could save your vehicle. It's just the smart thing to do. Yep. I don't care what vehicle I'm in. I always have my foot on the brake when I'm starting it. And that's one of the safety features of push button vehicles from the factory is you have to have the brake depressed in order to start the push button on vehicles nowadays. And that's where that stems from is you have something keeping control of the vehicle. I even got in Fiona this last weekend 2 weeks ago out at Rubathon. Yeah. And at one point I went to start the vehicle and I went to put my foot on the clutch to start it. And it's like an automatic. My foot does. I was like, oh yeah, there's no pedal over here. But it's such an instinctual thing to hit the clutch and the brake when I'm starting an off-road vehicle, right? That it just is second nature. And I caught myself doing it in Fiona. Yeah. Bobcat and Charlotte are both manuals. Mm-hmm. And so when I go drive the wife's car, I'm always like getting ready to downshift. And I'm like, wait, you don't have a manual. Same thing. Yeah. So those two go hand in hand, right? It's super simple. Always be wearing your seatbelt. You get in the vehicle, throw your seatbelt on. I know that my parents just bought a brand new Prius Prime. They call it grandma because it always nags at them. But the thing is, as soon as they start the vehicle, is if you don't have your seatbelt on, it starts chiming really bad at you. And so it's actually trained them to now put their seatbelt on before they start the car because they don't want the chimes happening. That's funny. Yeah. But and I'm like, good. Mm-hmm. Like, and my parents were like, well, we always put it on before we started moving, and I'm like, well, it's even better now that you're putting it on before you even start the vehicle. Yep. And so, these go right hand in hand. Wear your seatbelts, put your seatbelts on, put them on before you start driving. Always have them put it on before you move that vehicle. Mm-hmm. And be in full control of the vehicle before you start it.
Yep.
Whether or not, if you're in a sketchy situation when your vehicle's all flexed out and nasty and, you know, looks awesome in a photo for IG, or if you're just on the flats at camp, just be in full control of it at all times.
Yep.
Yeah. Awesome.
So 2 big tips for newbies.
Yes.
1 big tip from Jimmy, 1 big tip from me. If you're a newbie and going off-roading, I think those are the 2 kind of the biggest, most important ones. Like if you don't get anything else from this episode, I hope somebody gets those 2 things. So.
For sure. Yeah. I think the next one, let's do something a little bit more mellow.
Okay.
A little bit more relaxed.
A little bit more fun.
I have Des down here, hydration and sunscreen.
Yeah, that's a great one. Yeah. I'm really bad at it because I'm not really bad. My body reacts really bad to dehydration and heat and direct sunlight. Right. So, I have to stay super aware of this while I'm on the trail. And I think it's really easy too, when you're wheeling along and you're a multi-day wheeling trip, to forget about your water intake.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, you have a few beers at camp at night. You're like, I got something to drink, and your drink
Coors Light's almost all water.
Pretty much water. And then you kind of go in, and the next day you get, 3/4 of the way through the day, and you're like, oh, we're getting ready to go to camp or something like that. Or we're getting into camp, you pop another couple beers, and before you know it, you've gone 2 days without any water. Yep. And it's really easy to lose track of that. And I'm really bad at that. And I have to pay very close attention to my water intake and direct sunlight exposure. So, anytime you're going on a trip, I have in all my vehicles, I have at least 2 to 3 bottles of sunscreen in every single vehicle. Because I have to stay out of direct sunlight. And so, just know what that level is for yourself, figure it out, and, act appropriately on your trips, and be considering those things during your trips.
Yeah. I know that, both you and I enjoy getting like a flat of water, like the 16.9 water bottles.
Yep.
Probably not the best thing for the environment, but what I enjoy about that, and I'm putting words in your mouth because I think you're in the same area as I am, is that it's really easy just to grab one of those bottles and drink it. Where if you have like a gallon jug or a few gallon jugs, and then you have like a Nalgene water bottle, maybe you drink your Nalgene water bottle down, but now you got to fill it up, and you got to stop and maybe arrange the vehicle, pull the jug out, pour your water out, where it's really easy just to grab one of those water bottles and drink it.
And when you're done, you smash it down, tighten the lid on, and it stays smashed down. So you become a little water bottle trash pile.
Right. And so to me, it's really nice to have that flat, because I make it easy on myself to stay hydrated. Yep. Right.
And the easier and simpler, more convenient it is to stay hydrated, the more likely you will do it. So
exactly. Yeah. Now there's many ways to do it. Maybe and like I've been bringing 1 gallon jug so I can fill up water bottles, or, use it to cook with or something. But then while I'm out on the trail, I'm enjoying the 16.9 bottles. Because those are easier to grab, and like I can drink one of those fairly quickly as in a quick stop, and then crush the bottle, and then, get in the rig and continue on, or just grab it and throw it in the rig somewhere. And they're pretty easy to stash away. So just find something that works for you. Try few different methods as you're doing it, and just, learn as you go. In regards to sun exposure, find different ways to stay out of the sun. Maybe you need a hat or a sombrero, or those like very light t-shirts, or kind of collared shirts that have UV protective cloth in them, or whatever that wicks your sweat away really quick. Or always can't buy water, so you can jump in and cool off. Or
that's one of my strategies.
For sure. Or just, stay out of the sunny side, and just, I don't know, drive whenever the sun's on the opposite side of the vehicle.
I actually only go out at nighttime. I don't come out during the day.
That's vampire. Yeah. Got it. You got bad blood or something. So it's, find these.
That was pretty bad, Jimmy.
Sorry. Find these tips or tricks for you, and works well for you, and just, either modify them, or if you find something that works really well, just keep it going the entire time. But staying hydrated is great and reducing or moderating your sun exposure is just really important, because it's just going to allow you to stay focused longer on the trip. You'll be able to be a better driver. You won't be getting tired as fast. you'll be able to pay attention to the thing when it's necessary, excuse me, in those moments, whether the terrain changes or you need to do something really quick, you'll have that attention span and you won't be tired and fatigued and dizzy or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So, all that is very important just for the overall trip, especially if you've gone multiple days, you're not drinking water and you're dehydrated, you're just gonna be tired and not having a great time.
Yep.
And I guess the easiest way and probably most effective way to see if you're hydrated is
your pee.
Yep. A lot of people will talk about, oh, you need a certain amount of water or you need a certain amount of hydration or, you're supposed to drink, 1 fluid ounce for every pound you weigh or whatever it is. A lot of that doesn't matter. A lot of it comes down to just making sure your urine is clean and clear and not bright yellow or even a tint of yellow. Technically, it should be
dark brown
or any of those things. Yeah. Just make sure your pee is clean and clear, and that's how you
your
should
metric.
be your metric for staying hydrated. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I definitely have to pay attention to that. I'll get into day 2 of a trip and oh man, my pee is dark today. I need to go down some water, man.
Yep. Yeah. Why was I drinking whiskey all night?
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah. So, that's definitely an important one. I mean, all these are pretty important, but that's a safety tip for the trip and everything. So, cool. Well, I say now we jump kind of up to the top. Those were kind of life ones.
Okay.
And this one's kind of
health related,
health related, life related, a little vehicle related, but now we're going to jump more into vehicle stuff.
Sweet.
So the first one we wrote down, which is now number 4, is gears on descent.
Yeah, that's a really good one. I think that's probably one of the biggest things that newbies that I've been wheeling with don't understand or it doesn't occur, right? It's something that is a new concept they haven't thought about before. Is if you're descending a hill, descending a descent, you're coming down something. Everybody thinks of use your brakes.
Yeah.
Right. You want to use your brakes, just ride your brakes to come down because you need to slow yourself down. A lot of off-road vehicles, you can use your gears to slow you down. And what that does, there's a couple of things that does for you. One is by letting your engine control your descent and using the gears in your transmission to go down to as low of a gear as possible to control your descent. That you have more consistent control of the vehicle while you're doing this maneuver, whatever it is. And then the other thing that adds to you is if you need to put on the brakes, there's a lot less out of control that you're having to correct by using the brakes, right? So if you're in drive, 5th gear, whatever, in your transmission, automatic or manual, going down a descent, your vehicle can kind of get into runaway mode pretty quickly.
Sure. Yeah.
I never realized how quickly automatics can get into runaway mode until I have Fiona now. And it's been amazing to me how quickly the drivetrain cuts out and you're no longer connected to your drivetrain. Your transmission is no longer controlling your descent. So being able to take and drop your automatic transmission out of drive and down into the lowest gears you can get, 1 or 2, that's going to do so much to control your descent so that you're not having to depend on your brakes or risk getting into that runaway mode and have to use your brakes to correct it.
Absolutely.
So, and it's kind of obvious with a manual transmission.
Yeah.
But it's never really super obvious to new people coming into this hobby that you can do that with an automatic transmission too.
Right.
So,
yeah, my father told me one time a phrase or some off-roading vehicle knowledge that's always sort of stuck with me. And it was whatever gear you're using to go up the hill is the gear you want to be using to go down the hill.
Okay. I've never heard of it that way, but it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you're going up the hill and you're in first gear, that's probably the hill or the gear you want to be in when you're going down the hill.
Yeah.
But if it's a smoother, straight up hill, then you can do it in 3rd gear.
Mm-hmm.
Then you probably only need to be in 3rd gear to go down the hill.
Yeah. That's a good way of putting it. I've never heard that before.
Yeah. It's that old man's kind of wise once in a while.
Yeah, right.
So I think it's just a good one. And the basis is you're just in control of the vehicle. Like that you're in more control. You're using the gears to help control you, slow you down. If you need to blip the throttle, you definitely can, and you're not going to overdo anything. But if you're in the highest gear possible and or you're in an automatic and it's just shifting gears for you, the vehicle can go faster than you want it to be going. And you're always having to apply the brakes. And I think kind of a flip side to this is if you're on a very long downhill and you're always on your brakes, there could be a point in time when you get a bunch of brake fade, which is your brakes aren't working as well as they could be or should be. And or worst case scenario, brakes fail. And now you're just flying down the hill. So using the gears to control your descent is it's a tip and trick that I think is super important, and newbies don't think about it.
Yeah. The cool thing about gearing is it does two things for you, right? Gearing increases the amount of torque out of your drivetrain. And another way to think about that, torque moves the vehicle, right? So if you have more torque, it's easier to move the vehicle, right?
Okay.
Another way to think about torque is reducing how much the vehicle weighs conceptually to the drivetrain.
Okay. You sure?
So you can, if you have more torque, it's easier to move the vehicle. Therefore, the drivetrain thinks the vehicle's lighter, right?
Okay.
So a way to think about that is if you have a vehicle that weighs 5,000 pounds and your crawl ratio is a stock 60-to-1 crawl ratio, then you can think of 5,000 divided by 60. What is that? 1,100? No.
88.3.
So then your drivetrain would think that you're roughly quote unquote 88.3. That's your
pounds.
Your pounds ratio for torque to pounds, right? Whereas if you have crawl gears and you have a deeper first gear and your gear ratio that you're running at is 200-to-1.
I did 245. I was trying to get ahead of you. 25.
Your vehicle, your drivetrain now thinks your vehicle weighs roughly 25 pounds, right? That's your weight to gear ratio.
Okay.
Is roughly 25 pounds.
Yeah. So it makes it easier on the vehicle.
It makes it easier for the vehicle, and less weight is going to go downhill slower, typically with gravity. So that's another way to think of how gearing impacts your downhill descent and control of a vehicle.
Sure. So absolutely. While we're talking about control, let's jump over to vehicle control, different ways that you can control the vehicle.
So like, you mean like different ways, like different variables you have for tools on the vehicle?
That's, I think, where we were going with that. I had written down gears, lockers, no clutch.
Okay.
Like no foot on the clutch.
Yeah. So when I'm a big fan of when I take newbies out off-roading is to make them play around with all the tools that we have available to control and make the vehicle be successful in any given scenario, right? So some of those tools are lockers, big one. Crawl gears is another big one. If you're in a really fancy vehicle, you've got front dig versus rear dig, right? You've got cutting brakes, maybe could be a tool. You have winches are a tool, which is, I think, another thing that a lot of people don't think of them as a tool.
Yeah.
It's another tool to help. Yeah, right.
Which is not.
No, it's a tool to help you still continue being successful in a vehicle. So, and then clutches, a big one that whenever I get a newbie out on a trail in a manual transmission, inevitably they end up kind of like feathering the clutch constantly. And I constantly am like looking down to see what their feet are doing, right? Down in the driver's wheel well there, the floorboard. And I'll be like, get your foot off the clutch.
Yep.
Get your foot off the clutch, put your foot on the floorboard.
Yep.
Use the engine. Your engine and gearing is a massive, massive tool in the vehicle.
Especially when you have, this is really catering towards like the mini trucks, 4Runners and things that have all the gears and all the torque. Right.
4-speed Atlas vehicles.
If you have the gearing to deal with the rocks that you don't have to have your foot on the clutch, that is optimal.
For sure.
I can't talk about the heaps or anything out there. Any of those other vehicles.
Yeah. So manual transmissions, keep your foot off the clutch, keep it on the floor, let the engine do the work. Don't force your clutch to do the work of the vehicle. Your engine and drivetrain is way stronger than just your clutch is. So let the engine and the drivetrain do the work. Keep your foot on the floorboard, keep it off the clutch. And then lockers. I love getting newbies into scenarios where I know they're going to get kind of crossed over and they're going to stop proceeding unlocked.
Yes.
With their differentials unlocked, and then put them into that scenario. And then if you have e-lockers, back up 10 feet and do it again with lockers on. Or if you have air lockers, just turn them on and watch what happens. And you can feel, from when there's no traction and things are not going anywhere to all of a sudden when everything locks up and you can feel each individual corner grab and pull the vehicle through the obstacle. It's a really cool feeling to experience while somebody's making you hyper focus on that feeling.
Yeah.
And so being able to understand what the locker is doing at that time is a pretty cool thing. And then I like to have people try out and put them in scenarios where their front locker is going to make or break an obstacle, or a rear locker is going to make them make or break an obstacle. So they can be going up and the front is locked, but the rear is open, and you get the rear crossed over and all of a sudden you're no longer proceeding or something.
Yeah.
What are those scenarios that makes the rear lock up all of a sudden be successful? And what are those scenarios where if you're trying to climb something, say you're trying to climb a step or a ledge and, open is not working, cutting it in the front end. What happens when you lock up the front end, and how much easier is it to climb now?
Yeah.
So I like to have newbies play around with the different tools that a vehicle has.
I just changed the title to vehicle tools.
Oh, there you go.
From vehicle control.
Yeah.
Because I think that's really what it kind of comes down to is learn and understand the tools at your control or that you have on your
control
vehicle,
over,
that you have control over, right? If you have cutting brakes, or if you have rear dig, or if you have a winch, or if you have lockers, or if you have gearing, just learn how and when to use them.
Yep.
And you're not going to learn that without going out and going to do some of this stuff.
For sure.
Right. So you need to go out and explore, and you need to go out and play so that you can understand what all these tools do.
Yep.
And once you get an understanding of the tools at your exposure that you have, then you'll become a better wheeler overall.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And there's ways that you can, play with the brake to help with open scenarios, right? So there's different things you can do with different throttle inputs. What RPM do you need to be to go over this type of obstacle versus an RPM to get over this type of obstacle? So it's everything in a vehicle that you can control, from throttle, brake, clutch, lockers, digs, drivetrain cutoffs, lights. Lights are a tool. If you have rock lights, man, you can't see shit where you're going and what you're doing. Get some lights on and be able to see what you're doing. It's another tool, right? So, being able to know how to manipulate all those tools, what they do, how they help, what variables they help control or change, and then how to apply those in real world scenarios while you're out wheeling.
Yep. So exactly. Cool. Well, the next one I have is tires on rocks. We kind of have a few different ones that have to do with tires. I think we'll just start with tires on rocks, then we'll kind of work our way down. The big thing about tires on rocks is you don't want to try and put your vehicle in a situation where you get turtled. Yep. Turtled is when you run over a rock on your belly and your four tires can't touch the ground and you don't have enough grip to get you on or off of that rock anymore. Yep. And you're stuck. Or that rock gets up into really important components like transfer cases, transmissions, oil pans, differentials, drive shafts. So it's always better to have your tire on the rocks. It's a weird concept. Most people want to straddle things. Yep. But if you
think you want to stay on the road, you want to stay on the dirt, the pavement, the solid ground, that's where you want to stay, because that's what we think of when we drive a vehicle, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so, but really what it comes down to is sometimes you need to put your vehicle on the bigger rock so you can clear the rock that's going to get you stuck. So having an understanding of tires on rocks, don't always try to spread the gap. Don't always try to just clear it with your belly pan. Don't always, I don't know what other really situations there are, but just get those tires up. I have always told people when I've gone out with beginners is put your driver's side tire on the highest rock.
Yeah.
Just always, whatever, if you're coming up to an obstacle, know what your vehicle can do, right? First of all, put your tire on the bigger rock and go over that with your driver's side tire, and then go over that with your driver's side rear tire. Right. And then you're going to be clearing everything else underneath you because that's the big rock.
Yep.
And as long as you have the ground clearance to make sure that you're clearing it under your like rock slider or your the side of your vehicle, yeah, you're gonna be fine the whole entire way. I think a lot of that kind of goes into, I don't think we do have diffs on here, but just understand like the ground clearance.
Yeah.
And I'll breeze over that because we do have it on this list. Anything else necessarily for tires on rocks before we go over to other tire things?
That's really what it is. When I remember wheeling as a kid with my dad in the Shaver Lake area, right? And he would always tell people, put your foot on the rock.
Yeah.
Put your foot on the rock. Step up on the rock. Put your foot on the rock. He would constantly say that. And it never like truly sunk in what that really meant until I started off-roading on my own in my adult life. So
tire on rock.
Tire on rock, man. Right. Climb it.
Yeah. I think the next thing we have is tire placement.
Okay. This is more of just understanding where your tires are in relation to where you are in the vehicle.
Okay. Yeah.
So if you're coming up, and because we can't typically see our tires
right
from inside of most OEM vehicles, right? You can take your doors off or have half doors and lean out and look at your driver's side, but you're not doing that on the passenger side. If you have a buggy and you set up your vision and sights properly, you can see all four of your tires. But even a lot of buggies, you can't see all four of your tires.
Right.
So understanding where your tires are in relation to where you sit as the driver, I think is an extremely important concept that, from your first trip out, you should be trying to nail down and understand. I remember when when Kermit was on Toyota axles, wheeled on Toyota axles for 5 or 6 years. So 6 years, I think. Oh, how long did I have the first gen? I got the first gen for 4 years, and then I had Kermit on Toyota axles for 2 to 3 years.
Yeah,
before I swapped it. So yeah, maybe 7, 8 years on Toyota axles. And then when I built my Ford Tundra Super Duty axles, they were 14 inches wider than the Toyota axles. And that first month of wheeling, I think I went on 3 trips that month of having Kermit done, and I beat my wheels to shit.
You ran into everything.
I hit everything constantly. And I was like, oh my God, I feel like a newbie again. Like I have no clue where my tires are. And it took me a while to figure that out. And still to this day, I'll be driving, Fiona or Kermit down a trail and think I'm clear, and I'll just barely scrape a rock or hit it real quick. I'm like, dang it, my tires are wide, man.
Yeah.
So understanding where your tires sit in relation to where you are in the vehicle is a very key concept in off-roading. And, so as soon as you start getting ready for your first trip, going out on a trip or anything like that, start playing around with tire placement. Try and pick a rock in the trail and be like, I got to put my tire on a rock, right? Climb the rock, put your foot on the rock, and see if you can hit it. See if you can hit it with your tires. Then start playing games with yourself of, okay, I got the front driver tire down. I know where that one is. That's usually the easiest one to get to and figure out. Then you start figuring out, okay, where's my front passenger tire? And then where's my rear driver tire? How does my rear driver react when I'm turning?
Yeah.
What's the turn radius difference compared to the front end kind of thing?
That's the next one on the list.
And then, that rear passenger is typically the hardest one to get down a lot of times. I don't think I ever still pay attention or know exactly where my rear passenger tire is all the time.
I do. I purposefully put my rear passenger tire on rocks.
Okay.
I do it all the time. And that's because a lot of I'll be off. I try it whenever I'm on an off camber situation.
Okay.
I'll put the rear tire up on a rock to level me out.
Okay.
And that's like, I'll take corners extra sharp so I can get that rear tire up and level me out in few situations. So even spots on the Rubicon, I do it. Yeah.
Okay.
And that kind of leads into the next one is I have rear tires on turns. And a lot of that comes down to me is a lot of people will take corners too sharp. They're only concerned about the front two tires.
Yep.
I need to get around this corner, right? But then a lot of off-roading is understanding where your rear tires are and what your rear tires are going to do in the obstacle. Right. It's one thing to be like driving in a parking lot and you've got to drive around a concrete pillar. Right. And you could take that corner really sharp, but then you're going to hit your body on that pillar and you're going to mess up the rest of your vehicle or you could take that corner a little bit wider so that the rear of your vehicle makes it around the pillar.
Yeah.
And a lot of people forget that concept when they're off-roading. They're like, I got to squeeze between these two trees. And they only put their front two tires between the trees and then they keep turning. And I'm like, well, what's the rest of your vehicle going to be doing? Right. So I think that, and I guess this kind of goes one and the same with tire placement, but in my opinion, understanding where your rear tires are is more important than knowing where your front tires are. Because you could get messed up in an obstacle, around trees, through a rock garden really easy if you don't know how to control where your rear tires are going to go.
Yeah, it's easy to line up the front end so that your diff doesn't hit a rock, right? That you're not straddling rocks. But if you're having a turn in the middle of this obstacle, you know, is now all of a sudden your drive shaft going to be in that rock, your rear drive shaft, as you come through that obstacle, that section where you have to turn.
Right.
And it's the longer your wheelbase is, the more that turn radius gets fucked up.
Yeah.
So if you drive a CJ, you know, that the rear end kind of follows the front end pretty well. Yes. That's 70-inch wheelbase, right? 80-inch wheelbase. Whereas if you drive Bobcat, that's 128-inch wheelbase. That your rear end does not follow the front end and you have to pay very close attention to what's going on.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah. So there's a few things there about tires, like tires on the rocks, you know, making sure that you're clearing your undercarriage, the tire on the rock gets you up higher. You're clearing things underneath. Tire placement, understanding where all four of your tires are, understanding what's happening with your tires in different situations. And then in my opinion, the rear tire are the most important. And I have that as a completely separate item, just on rear tires on turns, rear tires in the obstacles, right? Because it's easy to understand what's going on in the front. It's hard to figure out or to understand what's going to go on in the rear. And getting those in there. So, and a lot of that, the importance of your tire placement falls right into kind of our next one, which is differentials. And I would even throw in undercarriage, right? A lot of tire placement, tire maneuverability, tire turning and everything. A lot of that comes down to understanding how much clearance you have underneath your vehicle so that you can continue to move forward.
Yeah. Metal does not typically move on rocks very well. It likes to gouge. UHMW moves decently on rocks.
It's not bad, yeah.
But yeah, metal on rock tends to gouge and like dig in almost. So
to both surfaces.
Exactly. So yeah, the more you can keep the metal off the rocks is really kind of the goal, and that comes to understanding breakover angles, approach angles, departure angles, where your low-hanging fruit is for your differentials, your low-hanging fruit for your skid plates, and your low-hanging fruit on your frame.
And bumpers, right?
So knowing about roughly how much clearance you have and understanding that as you're looking at objects in your path is a big, I mean, that's kind of the game of off-roading, really.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah. And along those lines, is remembering where those objects are, right? So not only just knowing your clearances, but you know, as you're driving down a trail, Jimmy and I talk about this all the time. It's a game of remembering where all the rocks are and how far down the trail can you look and remember where those rocks are as you're going. So like, I like to play a game sometimes where I will look down the trail and kind of just take a mental snapshot of everything on the trail and then close my eyes.
Yeah.
And see if I can visualize driving down this trail and know, okay, I should be coming up on a rock on my passenger side pretty soon. Oh, okay, there it is. I should be going up roughly a foot. Okay, there it is. And like knowing
I need to turn driver.
Yep. So I like to kind of play that game with myself every once in a while. We'll just take a mental snapshot of everything in front of me and then see if I can drive that with my eyes closed.
You just stole my bonus.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
You and I have talked about that multiple times.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah.
Memorize. You have to look forward because once again, you have to know where you're going to be going.
Yep.
And where those tires and what position you need to put yourself in, all while knowing what's literally right in front of you that you're about to drive over.
Yep.
And it's a game, and that's how I see it. It's a mental gymnastics. It's a mental memory game, and it's hard. And when you're done with the day, man, you are tired because you've been running through your mind all day of like, here's literally what's in front of me and what I'm gonna do. But then 10 feet in front of me, I need to be more on the driver's side so then I can hit that rock. And then 20 feet in front of me, it drops and I'm not quite sure what's going to happen after that, you know? And you're just like, so how do I position myself and how do I continue to move forward?
Yep.
But constantly. And that's the entire trail. And if it's a smooth fire road that, isn't that bad, you're still looking for potholes, ruts, what's the moving, and
logs sticking out on the side that can hit your tires, puncture them. Yeah.
Exactly. And the faster you're going, the quicker those things are coming, the more you're playing that game, the farther you have to read ahead.
Yep.
And the more difficult the terrain, the more you're doing it as well. It's not all as easy as driving on a road. Yeah. That's for sure. But you have to know your ground clearances. And I think one of the important things is you have to know where your differentials are. Because sometimes some vehicles are your front differentials on the passenger side. Some vehicles it's on the driver's side. Some vehicles have an offset rear differential.
Yep.
And so all the differentials could be more to the driver's side or more to the passenger side. So that means in a way you have ever so slightly more ground clearance underneath your axles wherever your differential is not.
Correct.
So you can clear a little bit higher things. Sometimes you might drive over something and you're like, I can clear that. And then boom, you stop.
Yeah.
Because you hit your differential.
Yep.
Well, if you know where the differential is, you know that you can just, I need to go a little bit more driver or passenger to clear that rock.
Yeah.
And then, or go back to whatever number 6 or whatever, put your tire on the rock.
Yeah.
And then you're going to clear it.
Yep.
But understanding where your differentials are helps you go down the trail easier, and understanding those ground clearances helps you be able to continue down the trail easier.
Yeah. 2 examples of kind of this section we're just talking about here. I was going up Deer Valley one time from south to north, right? So you have that big climb at the beginning.
Yeah.
And there was a guy that had a front facing camera in an FJ Cruiser.
Oh, okay.
I think you were on, I don't know if you were on that trip.
I don't know.
But he was driving only by the camera. And so like he could see when objects were right in front of him and how he needed to line up his tires.
Sure.
But what he ended up doing was he was so focused on that and not planning ahead and looking down the trail to see what position he needed the truck in. He would hit those rocks, come over them, and then be completely fucked for the next ones.
Sure.
And he did that like 6 or 7 times before I was like, stop using your camera.
Yeah.
You need to look out your windshield and drive by looking out your windshield and remember where stuff is rather than only be looking 5 feet in front of you and try to drive that way.
Yeah.
So that was the big eye opener to me of how important it is to constantly be scanning and looking and memorizing the trail ahead of you. And then the second one is how mentally taxing that is to do that all day long. Was Isaiah at Trail Hero X. Yeah. Remember the rock crawling day up the canyon? Mm-hmm. And when we got to camp that night, he was like, I was a little concerned.
He had like a headache because he was concentrating and driving a vehicle that he's not used to and through kind of terrain that he's not used to.
Yep.
And memorizing the trail and doing all this mental gymnastics the entire day. He had a headache and he put himself to bed early.
Yep. He was out of it. Like he was not replying to people. He looked bad.
Yeah.
And we were just like, you
need to drink. You need to stay hydrated. You need
too.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't realize how much energy you use when off-roading as a driver. You'd think you're sitting in a vehicle, you're not expending that much energy. You're expending a ton of energy. A lot of it is mental energy, but some of it is physical too. And
Yeah, I get all kinds of steps.
Yeah, right.
My watch thinks I'm on a really long walk.
Yep. Every time the rig jostles, you've got some kind of muscle firing off in your body to counteract that rig jostle. It's a lot more energy than you would think of just driving a vehicle.
Yeah.
So, yeah, those are my 2 fun examples of those.
Yeah. The last one on our list is be okay being uncomfortable.
Ah, that's a good one. Yeah.
And I wrote that because you talked about being off camber.
Yep.
But I worded it that way because it's so much more.
It is, for sure. Yeah.
And so the gist of off camber is nobody likes off camber. Nobody likes it when their vehicle is leaning a direction that it should not be leaning.
Yeah.
You know, if you're leaning all the way towards your driver's side of your vehicle and your passenger side of the vehicle, tires are higher than your driver's side vehicle tires. That is never comfortable for anybody.
No.
Nobody likes that.
No.
But what's crazy is your vehicles can do it.
Yes.
Your vehicle can handle it. Like there is a there is a time when your vehicle will roll. Fortunately, I have never found that.
I found it.
Yeah, Tyler has found it. My fault.
With Jimmy's help.
Yeah, not really, but sort of, kind of. But nobody is used to that, and the more and more you wheel, the more you'll ever so slightly get more comfortable with more extreme. But there is a lot of putting yourself into something that is uncomfortable. There's a lot
to be said for it, for sure. Yeah. I mean, still going up whalebones.
Oh yeah.
Even whalebones. I've gone up whalebones maybe 100 times.
Sure.
I don't know, but I'm still not used to it. The extreme angle you get just pushed back in your seat, looking straight up at the sky. You can't see jack shit else.
No. And I know as soon as I crest this hill, I need to start turning right, but I still don't want to do it.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. It's there's something to be said about just understanding that our vehicles and trusting the vehicle that it can do and be put in these crazy situations and be okay with it. You don't need to like it.
Sure.
But I think it's one of those cool feelings about off-roading that when you get put into a situation that you're uncomfortable with and everything works out in the end, it's a really cool feeling, sensation, high dopamine hit maybe is what's going on. You get this shot of adrenaline, right? And that's it's a crazy thing to chase and be okay with. First few times you're not going to be okay with it. You're going to freak out and think that the world is ending. But that's part of it, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think be comfortable with the uncomfortable, you know, have people around you that are a little bit more experienced. I think this was going to be like one of my other like closing statements is go with people that are experienced.
Yeah.
Don't put yourself into a situation that you're not in, that somebody else that has, you know, done it before, hasn't, you know, that can show you how to do it, knows that it's safe, knows that you can do it, you know, help you talk you and walk you through the situation.
Yep.
You know, I think that's a really important thing. I think, you know, listening to, I don't want to quote elders, you know, or just a more experienced person is always a good thing to have around when you go out wheeling. And I think a lot of us are to the point where like, we will go wheeling and we'll go out and be comfortable with the uncomfortable, but there are situations that we might not want to drive through.
I won't go to a new trail in Moab without somebody there who's experienced on that trail.
Yeah.
I refuse to now.
Right. Yeah. And so
Moab Rim scarred me.
Yeah. I understand. It was that first sections, those are off camber and not comfortable and not fun. And you can feel your vehicle, especially on leaf rings, leaning one way or another. It was not a good fun time for either of us. Plus our vehicles aren't made for that.
No, they're not.
And yeah, so I think a lot of it, be ready. And there's multiple situations in off-roading when you're going to be uncomfortable, right? From off camber to just being stuck to having broken parts. You know, all those times you're going to be uncomfortable, and it's about how you deal with it and how you come out the other side. And I think a flip side to that is sort of to say like, accept the small victories.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's a good one.
And so, you know, even if you've, you know, like, oh, I wheeled for an hour. Like, hey, That's fantastic. Good job. You did it. Or I made it to camp. Or, I made it over these rocks.
I made the gatekeeper.
I made gatekeeper. Be happy for the small victories out there. That's the fun of off-roading is, making it through a rock garden or making it over, through the mud puddle or whatever it is, depending on where you live, making it up this slippery hill or, getting to this amazing camp spot. Like be happy with those small victories, be comfortable with the uncomfortable, concern yourself with your tire placement, where your tire is going, and then be safe in all the situations where your seatbelt and always be in control of your vehicle.
Yep. Yeah. There's a lot of good tips there, I think, for everybody. I really like the experienced one. That was one that I didn't consider at all when we were making this list. And that's a big one. I think one of the biggest ones for newbies, is that, don't go out alone and push your limits. That's one of the things I love about clubs, and getting involved with clubs. Clubs usually always have the elders of the club that have been around for a long time. They know the normal trails the club goes on. They know the ins and outs of most vehicles, kind of thing, how mechanics work. So if you're unsure of that stuff, go with somebody who's experienced. Clubs go a very long way to helping you be successful out on the trails too. So
absolutely. Yeah. I think that was a great list. Some things that came out of that we didn't even write down. So that was pretty cool. If you guys have any ideas, tips, tricks for newbies out there that we didn't have on our list in regards to vehicles, not so much camping or glamping or any of those other things. That's what we're interested in. Maybe we'll do another episode for camping or prepping or any of the other things, how to, basic build needs that every beginner should have or whatever it is. We could cover this topic in many different ways, but if you have any suggestions or tips and tricks for a newbie that is getting into off-roading, we're all ears. We would love to share those with people. You can either hit us up on Instagram. SnailTrail4x4 is the one I look over, or Tyler looks over 4x4 Toyota Tyler. Or you can phone in and be a part of our voicemail segment and leave your tips and tricks on the voicemail. And then we'll play that voicemail for everybody here on our snail mail segments that come out on Friday. You can do that at 916-345-4744.
That's it. That's the one. That's all we got, I think. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the episode. Hopefully you guys had a great, safe weekend. Happy Monday to everybody out there. We'll see you again soon on Thursday, where we go over FNGs, birthdays. We'll announce a winner of the APL 20 from IceCo and talk a little bit more about some Wolfbox stuff coming up. So have a great day, guys. We'll see you Thursday. Anything to finish up and wrap up with, Jimmy?
Is this last words or just saying?
This is finish up, wrap up, and I might do last words after you say this.
Jesus. Well, my last words are just get out. You're never going to be able to experience any of these things without going outside and going to do it. So I take and learn what we've talked about and just go out and apply it however you can and go out and have fun. And that's the best way to do it and learn.
You don't need an overbuilt vehicle. Overbuilt vehicles will help you experience things, but I think they detract from learning a little bit. Go out and enjoy, as Jimmy said, go out, enjoy what you have and start putting some of these skills, learning about them, be aware of some of these things and figure out what works for you. So it's a glorious thing. It's cool.
We both started with stock vehicles and built our vehicles up and went one day. I could really use a locker. I could really use a front locker. I need lower gears. I need bigger tires. I need skid plates, rock sliders, bumpers, blah, 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 blah. And we built our vehicles up as we put ourselves into different situations, into different uncomfortableness. And we learned what we needed for our vehicle instead of just going out and buying everything and then going to wheel it. So just get out, go wheel, drive around, camp, have fun with what you have and learn about what you want and build it from there.
Sweet. So any final words? Just kidding. And with that, my friends, keep crawling.
I got one for you.
Okay, sir.
And either one of two things is going to happen on this one.
Okay.
You're either not going to get it, like not understand it,
Okay.
or you're going to think it's just a bad joke.
Okay.
So I'm guessing both things happen.
Okay. All right.
Why didn't the vampire attack Taylor Swift?
It's going to be something to do with one of her songs.
Yep. Can you name any of her songs?
Because why didn't he attack her?
Correct.
Because he kissed a girl and did not like it.
That's Katy Perry.
Oh. Taylor Swift songs. I don't know what.
Because she has bad blood.
Okay. All right. That makes sense.
It does?
Yep.
You know that song?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Uh-huh.
I'm impressed.
So there's a fantastic playlist, FYI, on YouTube Music.
I'm listening.
That is metal covers of Taylor Swift songs. It's
interested.
Fantastic. FYI. If anybody out there is interested in it, DM me. I will get it over to you.
There you go.
Or remind me. I'll find the URL we can put in the show notes or something.
Yeah.
It's
I'll make a note.
Yeah.
Sounds fun.